Hi, and welcome back to Neat Talk. I am so glad you could join me again. Today I'm going to be tying it all together. I will be discussing the last two chapters of my book, chapter 11 and chapter 12. But I'd like to start first with a quote by John F. Kennedy. Let us think of education as a means of developing our greatest abilities, because in each of us there is a private hope and dream which fulfilled can be translated into benefit for everyone and greater strength of our nation. John F. Kennedy. I love that quote. Now, I'm going to once again discuss 11 and 12. So the title of chapter 11 is this: My career chose me and I embraced it. And chapter 12 is Education is the Key. So what does it mean, my career chose me and I embraced it? Well, first of all, let's go back to chapter 1. If you remember from chapter 1 and the name of my book, From Poverty to Principle, I had very little, support in my educational endeavors or foundation. I was lacking that true solid foundation. But when I was in high school, I started taking business courses. The typing, we didn't have computers back then. I know that's hard for any of these young folks to believe, but there were no computers. We had typewriters. So I took a lot of the business courses, the typing, the business communication, shorthand. I actually loved writing in shorthand. And I had a particular teacher who took an interest in me. She was a business teacher. She was very articulate, very professional, very well dressed. And she saw how much I loved those courses. And I also had, my basketball coach. She was amazing. I had another African American teacher who just supported most of us kids of color. And I found that I had a true love for the business courses. And I liked the way the teacher taught the courses. So as a result, I went off to the Florida A&M University in Tallahassee on the Hill and majored in business education. And I have to tell you, I loved every single course. I enjoyed it so much, and I had the best professors there, the best instructors. And so as soon as I left Florida A&M University, I took a position teaching in Miami, Florida, and I love that as well. I have to stop you and tell you that teaching by far was the best job ever. I was so grateful to be a teacher, to be with my students on a day-to-day and hopefully making a great impact on their lives and just building those relationships with my kids. They loved me and I loved them. And then I became an administrator. And when I became an administrator, things were a little different, particularly when I became a principal. I was the first and only African American female principal of a high school in the district in which I work. And I told you guys that earlier, and it's in my book. That's in Brevard County. And so as a result, there were some challenges. There were many people who did not prefer to have a black female in charge of a high school in that district, the adults. But the students, I love them and they love me. I have to tell you guys, once again, teaching was the best position ever. But being a principal and being loved by your students and loving my students, that's very rewarding. So although there were challenges, I still greatly appreciated being around my students every day and being involved in their lives. And I say this as well. If it had not been for some of the challenges or the difficulties, where would I be? Because I have no reason to be angry. All of those obstacles and challenges, which no one welcomes, by the way, no one welcomes those types of things. But all of them made me a stronger person. And as a result, of course, I'm able to share a lot of that in my book. And before I left, let me take that back. As I was finishing my book, I literally got information about the results from U.S. News about Titusville High School and their performance. They have been recognized by U.S. News for doing well in a number of academic areas. Let me just very briefly read that to you. They were recognized in 2017-18 school year, ranked 6,078 out of 18,000 schools in the nation. And I was the principal during that time. Because of COVID, some of the data they weren't able to pull, so they pulled back to 2017. And I believe that's one of the reasons. But anyway, I was the principal there. And so the kids during that time performed outstandingly. The teachers supported them very well. The teachers who really were invested in what they were doing and concerned about, make sure those kids perform at their highest potential. So these were causes for celebration for myself and the students and the teachers. And I still have some teachers who reach out to me now. I have, of course, my students who reach out to me. And those were some wonderful times with the students. And my last chapter in the book, it talks about education being the key. And I want to end with this. Education was indeed the key for me. Some people do exceedingly well without, going to college or without a formal education. But I know I needed that because I didn't have that solid foundation. I didn't even have a direction in which way I needed to go or which way I should be going. But because I went to school, went to college, went to the Florida A&M University, they poured into me. And as a result, I pledged to pour into other young adults. So I mentor young adults who want to become principals still now to this day. And also the students whose parents continue to reach out to me, and the kids themselves who still reach out to me, some of those kids. So it's important that we all reach back and give back. And as a village, we can do those things. I am blessed to have had the opportunity to work with so many amazing students and adults as well. I thank those who put me through some challenges, because without that, I would not have been as strong as I am now. I, of course, don't welcome anything that was negative, but all the positives that were poured into me. I thank those people who poured into our students in a positive manner. And today, I wore my blingy sleeves there, my book From Poverty to Principal. It just made me feel really good to end my 12 chapters with this particular dress on and my little bling, to say thank you to each and every one of you for joining me on Neat Talk. Click on subscribe, follow me on my YouTube channel. My website is anithajones.com. I have an Instagram, and my Facebook is Anitha Jones Author. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you guys so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.